Hi, welcome to the exam collection where I just do about 6 questions around the grade 4 and 5. So the questions that you would expect to see towards the end of your paper. They are weekly, Mondays, posted every week to help you get ready. There is just one thing I would quickly say if this is your first video with us, and that's the methods. The methods that I use with my students in class and in my courses. You may have a different approach. Maths can often be solved in more than one way. So if your way is different, it's not wrong. As long as you've got everything backing up your solution and your answer is the same as mine, then it's all good, really. So the way that this will work is you're going to hit pause, have a go at the question, and then press play when you're ready to see the solution. Okay, let's go. Hit pause and have a go at this question. Okay, so n is an integer. So that's my first keyword. Integers are positive or negative whole numbers. And the inequality that I've been given shows me a range of numbers. I've got -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Those are all the integers within that range. But then I need to home in a little bit closer to the actual inequalities themselves. This one has part of an equal sign, which means it can equal the 3. So in my list of numbers, I will be keeping that 3. But when I look at the other one, that is not present. So this n cannot equal the -2. So we wouldn't be including that one in our list. So our final answer would be -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Next part of this question, x is a number. So it's a number I don't know. Another number is 9 greater than x. Okay, so I've got x is one of my numbers. Another number is 9 greater, so that's going to be x plus 9. So I'm just taking those sentences and I'm writing those in a more mathematical way. I know that both the numbers are whole numbers and the total of the two numbers is less than 60. So that sentence can be written mathematically. And that's really what a lot of these wordy questions are about. Can you take the sentences and rewrite them in actual maths problems? So the total, well, the total of this is 2x plus 9. And then the numbers are less than 60. So less than has a symbol. And then we've got 60. So what we've done is we've written ourselves an inequality to solve. So if I want to know what x equals, I need to get it on its own. So I'm going to hop my plus 9. It's going to land as -9. That's gone. So I've now got 2x left, my less than symbol, and 51 when I work that piece of maths out. And it's really, really important that you are keeping that symbol. It's so tempting to do the equal sign because it's what we do so often. Now I want to get x on its own. It's a times on that side, so the 2 is going to land as a divide. That's going to give me x is less than 25.5. Go back and check in with that question. It said find the greatest possible value of x, and x is a whole number. So the greatest possible value is 25. Okay, next question. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so I've been given the nth term of a couple of sequences. And Sally is saying there is only one number that is in both sequence A and sequence B. And we've got to determine whether that statement is true or not. And we must have an explanation for that. So we're not going to literally just sit here and go, yeah, I think it's true. Yeah, I'm going to write yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to look actually at the sequences that these rules will give us. So if we've got 3n minus 2, that means 3 times n minus 2. Now, if I want the first number in the sequence, I am going to put the number 1 where the n is. So 3 times 1 minus 2. So 3 times 1 minus 2 gives me an answer of 1. If I want to know the second number in the sequence, I'm going to change the n to 2. And that is going to give me 4. And I'm going to just keep going and find just a couple more. I want to get a really good sense of this sequence. So 3 times 3, take 2, is 7. 3 times 4, take 2 is 10. And now I've got a really good feel for that sequence. So sequence A is going 1, 4, 7, 10. And then I would repeat the whole process with the sequence 10 minus 2n. So I've got 10 minus 2n. So 10 take away 2 times 1. So that's going to give me 8. 10 take away 2 times 2 is going to give me 6. 10 take away 2 times 3 is going to give me 4. 10 take away 2 times 4 is going to give me 2. So my B is got 8, 6, 4, 2. And obviously these sequences keep going. I've just stopped after doing a handful so I can get a really good feel. So she says there's only one number that's in both sequences. So we can see with what we've done so far that appears to be true. Now, is there any possibility of it repeating again at some point? And the answer to that is no, because this is an increasing sequence and this is a decreasing. So they're never going to find another number. And that's basically what we would write. We've got to explain our answer. We've got all the evidence there. We just now need to put that in a sentence. So is she right? Yes. Okay. Explaining the answer, A increases, B decreases. So only 4 will appear, or something along those lines. I think it's always quite hard to try and put together that sentence, and you need to just put it in your words. Okay, just do your best to explain what it is you're seeing. All right, next question. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so I'm being asked to work out the value of x, and x is here on my triangle. And I've got to give my answer correct to 3 significant figures, and then that's it. They haven't given me anything else. So I really need to dive into this diagram to get all the information I can out of it. So what am I looking at? I'm looking at a right-angled triangle. Now, right-angled triangles should automatically trigger Pythagoras and our trigonometry, our SOHCAHTOA. So this has a feel of either of those two. So I need to go in a little bit deeper to see if I can work out what's going on. Pythag needs 2 edges to find the third. I've got this edge, but I don't have this edge. So I can't use Pythag. I must have 2 of the edges if I'm going to be able to find the third. So that now I've eliminated Pythag tells me that this is a trig question. So I'm going to write down my SOHCAHTOA because this is helping me remember the different ratios that I might use in the question. Being able to label those edges is critical. So this is the acute angle they've given us. If I travel across the triangle, I end up at that x, and that is opposite the 43 degrees. Opposite my right angle is always the hypotenuse, which I will label H. And my adjacent is here. Not that that's going to help me because there isn't anything actually on that edge. So when I'm looking at this, obviously I need to use this edge because I want to find out X. So O is part of my problem. And I'm going to use this edge because it's got some information that's going to help me. And that means H is in the problem. O and H are next to each other here. So I'm going to be using sine. So sine theta equals O over H. I really recommend writing everything out so you don't make any silly mistakes along the way. The theta is literally just meaning the angle in the question. And now you go to your diagram and you fill as much information from the diagram into the formula. So I'm looking for my angle, it's there, it's 43 degrees. My O is X, my H is 7.8. Now, if I want to know what X equals, I've got to get it on its own. So I'm going to pick up the divide by 7.8 and it's going to land as times. So I would put 7.8 times sine 43 into my calculator and I would get 5.3195 and on it goes. This is where you must always go back and check that question. It says, give your answer to 3 sig fig. So I'm going to be going 1, 2, 3, cut. If this one is 5 or more, which it is, then I have to add 1. So it's going to become 5.32. Remember, you're adding to the number, the other side of this line that we've cut the number by. So 5.32 centimeters, and well done if you got that right. Okay, our next question is on the next page. Okay, so there's quite a lot going on here. We're going to need to get this down so that you can see everything. And I'm a little bit in the way for you to be able to read it all as well. So let's move me. There we go. Okay, I want you to take your time, read through the information, read it a second time if you need to, pull out what's important. Remember, a lot of that is about a story. So pull out the information that you need and then hit play when you are ready to see the solution. Okay, so here is a formula used to work out the speed, V, of a car making an emergency stop. Now, one of the things that you could do is you could start maybe rewriting this so that it's easier to follow. They're telling us that V is speed. So we could just write down, okay, speed equals square root of 21. It's squashed to the D, so it means times. Now, I just need to know what the D means. D, feet, is the length of the mark the car's tires make on the road. So I could maybe call that tires. You may not need to do anything like this at all, and you might be really comfortable working with that formula. I'm really just trying to give you some ideas of what to do if you get stuck, because that makes it feel a little bit easier. So when you're now reading the next part, it says a car makes an emergency stop. The tires make a mark of 90 feet long. So I now know that the tires are going to be replaced with that value there. And I've got to work out the speed. Well, the speed is equal to the square root of 21 times 90. Okay, which is the square root of 1890. Remember to write everything down. It's so tempting not to, but we want to make sure we're not missing any marks. This gives me 43.4741, on and on it goes. It says correct to the nearest whole number. So that's going to be 43 as my answer. Okay. The next part says the car made an emergency stop. The car's speed was 50. So if I'm going to do what I've just done, where I've got my speed equals the square root of 21. Whoops, let's actually write the 21 times the tires. This is actually changing things around a little bit because they're telling me the speed is 50. So that number there needs to be 50. And that's going to equal the square root of 21 times, and of course, the tires is going to be there because that's what they want me to work out, the length of the mark on the roads. So I'll probably at this stage just go back to D, so I've got a single letter and not a word, but at least I can see what's happening a bit easier. Now I've got to get that D on its own. So I'm going to bring everything that's there over to the other side to join the 50. And we've got to make sure that we do this in the right order. So I can't get to the 21 because it's got this square root completely wrapped around it. So I'm going to pick up the square root. It lands as its opposite, which is square. And I've now got 50 squared equaling 21 times whatever that D is. Now picking up the times 21, it will land as divide 21, and that's the maths that I need to pop into my calculator in order to work out what D is. So 50 squared divided by 21 is equal to 119.047. Check in with that question. It says nearest whole number again. So my answer is 119, and the measure was in feet, so 119 feet. Okay, so really try and highlight the key bits, and absolutely do this if you think that's going to make life easier for you. You're not going to lose marks for it. Okay, next question. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. Bigger. Okay. So let's get the information out of all those sentences. So I've got red, and I've got 15%. I've got blue, and I've got 2/5. I've got yellow, and I've got exactly 27 yellows. And I've got to work out how many blues there are. So the first thing that I should be really noticing here is how everything's been represented differently. I've got percentages, I've got fractions, and I've actually got a value for the yellow. So I need to somehow pull this together by working in just one style of number. I don't want to be working in percentages and fractions. I want to be working in one or the other. So I'm going to go for percentages, but you could go for fractions. You could even go for decimals if you wanted to, but I'm just choosing to do percentages. So I know that 15% are red. I need to know what 2/5 is as a percentage. So a percentage will always start life as a fraction, and then it gets multiplied through by 100, and you end up with your percentage, which in this case is 40%. So what are the yellows as a percentage? Well, if the red is 15% and the blue is 40%, that gives me a total of 55%. So the yellows are going to be 100% minus that 55, which is 45%. So I can now see all of my counters as a percentage of each other. So the place that now helps me answer this is here, because I've got the actual value of yellows and I have the percentage. So I have this fact about the yellows that I can use in our boxes and labels. And you will see this coming up all over the place because it just works. So when you're not sure how to pull the maths together, this kind of just structures it for you. So I know that there are 27 counters in 45% of what's there. I want to actually work out the blue. The blue is 40%. So if I put 40 in my percent column, then this missing box here will be the number of counters that 40% give. So I'm going to set this up. This is the trap number. It's the number that can't slide anywhere within the grid. So 45 is my denominator. I can put these any way I like. If it's a non-calculator, I might think a little harder about where I want to position them. But when it's a calculator, just get it written down, because that shows the examiner the maths you are going to do. You throw it into your calculator and you get your answer 24. So if you got that right, really well done. And like I say, there's so many different routes around these types of questions. You may have done it in a completely different way, but if the evidence backs up your answer, you should be getting full marks anyway. Okay, next question. And this is our last one. So let's get it so you can see it. All right. So I want you to hit pause, read through, have a go, and then hit play when you're ready. Okay, so again, there's quite a lot of information coming our way with this. We've got the diagram. The lawn is in the shape of a rectangle. The length of the lawn is 8 by 6. I can see all of that in the diagram. There is a path all the way around the lawn, and the path is made from paving slabs. Each paving slab is a square 0.5 by 0.5. So I can see that we're in the same units, which is really great. And then the width of the path is 0.5. So I've got to work out the number of paving slabs that are going to fit. Now, one of the things that I would really strongly recommend is that you use the diagram. You draw on that diagram, or redraw it and draw on your own version. But I would really recommend you draw it. So if I just pop that there and that there, that is one paving slab, because that is 0.5. Okay, and that is 0.5, and obviously they're square. I can now see by just popping that on in the corners there that I have a total length across here as a 9. So I've got the 8 from the lawn, and then the 2 0.5s gives me 9. And I want to know how many 0.5s I can fit in that length. So the math that I'm going to do is 9 divided. How many 0.5s can I get into that 9? And the answer to that is 18. And again, put this information clearly into your diagram. I can fit 18 slabs all the way to that edge and all the way to that edge. So if I do the same at the top, then I know I've got 18 again going all the way through. And the reason that you want to do this is because you don't want to accidentally add in any extras by, recounting them. I'm now only interested in this space here, which is a distance that matches the lawn of 6 meters. So how many 0.5s can I get into my 6? So I put that in and I get 12. So that means I've got 12 and 12 here. So the total number that I have is 18 plus 18 plus 12 plus 12, which comes out at 60. Okay, and like I say, you may have done it a different way. You may have chosen to literally envisage the whole thing. That would work as long as you're careful and you count it through, really carefully. All right, I believe that was our last question. It was. So well done. I will be posting the next video next Monday. Again, a random selection of questions for you to practice. I hope you're finding them useful.